It's really important for us as Native American women to use our sacred plants in this work, even when we're just talking about it. Trafficking is where women are sold for sex, for money, for drugs.
In our Indian world is new as far as involving our young people. And human trafficking has many, many descriptions, but basically it means the sale of another human being for someone else's sexual desires.
Could be in terms of someone prostituting. It could be someone being forced to work at a strip club, someone being forced to participate in pornography, or the sale of photos of their body.
It really comes down to exploiting someone's vulnerability so you can take advantage of them and profit off of it is really how we think of human trafficking.
Native American women and young girls. You only have to go out on the street, up on Lake Street, up that way, and you can see who's out there.
They started at age 11 and they go to about the age of 15. But many of the young girls, when they first arrive here, they've been sold at very, very young ages. So she might be 12 years old, but she's been sold at the ages of 6, and 7, and 8 years old.
People with disabilities, anyone that a perpetrator may think this is someone where no one would be sad if they went missing, or that the police wouldn't believe them if they came forward and said that they were assaulted. Those are people who are at a high risk of being trafficked.
It can be men, women, boys, again, all adults and minors all alike. It can be U.S. citizens, people that are born here, or it could be people that are foreign born or international. Really anyone can be victimized by human trafficking.
It happens because of economy, of poverty, of drug abuse, of alcoholism, of domestic violence, violence against women.
They get drawn in very, very innocently, and they get drawn in by what they call finesse pimping. And that means that a young man, and I would have to say, and it really, really hurts me, it hurts me as an elder to know that that young man is Indian, is Native. And he is grooming her, and he meets her and tells her he loves her and cares about her, and he's going to do everything for her. And he is like that for a long time, until he decides that, and he's being pressured by other people, older people around him, to get her ready and groom her. And what I mean by that, when I first see these young girls, they have really, really long nails, very expensive nail jobs, acrylic nails. You see a little 12-year-old that's just covered in makeup, really, really red lips. But after you take all of that off, they're just children.
They don't end up in prostitution because they're stupid. They end up in prostitution because there aren't enough resources.
Traditionally, people think of kidnapping, or they think of lock and chains, or locked in a basement sometimes. That's not traditionally how it happens. It's much more tricky and covert than that. It can start off as an intimate relationship. Sometimes there could be a boyfriend figure, so someone who would get to know a young woman or a young man, become their friend, become an intimate partner, and then get them to trust them to a point where they can get them to turn around and either turn tricks or to work or exploit them in some fashion. That's a way we see it a lot. Sometimes there can be family members. It could be parents, it could be an auntie, or it could be an uncle. It could just be a family friend who's taking advantage of someone and getting them to do something, and then they benefit or profit off of it. So it can happen numerous ways, even peer groups sometimes, just friends to friends. It can happen that way too.
She needs to go and get help. She needs to remove herself from whoever is doing this to her. Get somewhere safe and go to, come to this program and to work through all of this stuff to see what a safety plan would look like for her, and to be able to just acknowledge herself and her feelings that this is not a good place, this is not where I want to be. I know I can be in a better place, and it can happen for me.
Of course, first and foremost is making sure they're safe. So I want to say reach out for help, but I want to make sure they're safe when they're reaching out for help. And we're trying to create safe ways for people to do that, where they can call hotlines, they can text numbers, and just start talking to someone about what some of their options are. The really tricky thing about human trafficking is a lot of times victims don't know they're victims. They think they just have a really hard life and this is how they deserve to be treated, because that's usually what a trafficker is telling them. So they don't see themselves as deserving of any help, so it's hard to get that message across that you do deserve something better, you do deserve help, and here's a number you can call, or here's a text or a website you can check out.
In terms of survivors of sex trafficking is focused on healing emotionally, because people involved in sex trafficking experience very traumatic events.
Part of believing them is using what we call trauma-informed care. And that just means accepting them for the way that they are and not changing them until they're ready to change. And the one thing that I know when they're healed is that they do this. When we do this, that means that you broke the chain. You empowered yourself to break that chain. I didn't do it. You did it. That little girl that you have right there as your baby is never going to be sold. You're the last one in your family line to be ever sold. And when they understand that, healing is there.
My name is Carmen and I'm 16 years old. I hope after watching this video, women and young girls have a better definition of what sex trafficking really is, how to get help or help another.
My name is Shammy Morris and I'm 17 years old. I think trafficking is important because young people are getting sold and are innocent. I couldn't imagine having to go through that at 12 years old.
My name is Alicia Bruce. No human being deserves to have their body sold. If this ever happened to you or someone you know, speak up, don't be scared.